Hello and welcome to a new Atoll PNC video. Today we will be looking at something completely new that was sent to me by one of my subscribers who was interested in the topic. So what exactly is this? So it gets kind of crazy, okay? Let's start by that. This is a flat earth map, but not any flat earth map. It's a very specific kind of flat earth map. And apparently, but based on basically what I could find online, it was made by the Germans during that one period in history where they were doing a lot of expeditions in the Arctic and the Antarctic. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm of course talking about the Second World War and the period right before it, because a lot of the people in the German High Command were very interested in the concept of esotericism and generally a lot of the things that had to do with Antarctica and the Arctic. So that is why this map is in German, and it has a lot of those references to those time periods where Germany, was kind of doing their own thing. So first, let's just get into the actual map, okay? Because this is kind of wild. First of all, I had to censor some parts of the map, unfortunately. It's these black dots you can see right here, and they will be censored on each part of the map, because unfortunately those were that one symbol that Germany used in that time period, which of course YouTube doesn't want me to show you, and I won't be showing it because otherwise they would block the video, but you know all what I'm referring about. It's that one symbol everybody knows about, the one with the little stanky legs, going in a circle basically, but it's it's that one. I'm not gonna refer it by its own name, but you all know what I'm talking about. So first of all, what actually is going on in this map? First of all, we can see right here that the Earth, as we know it, is right here. So we have Africa, we have Arabia here, then we have Europe, then we have Asia, and what appears to be South America, North America, and in this case Australia. Then things get a bit quirky. We have a continent here which can't be easily recognized and appears to be something akin to Lemuria or Mu. I've seen the other maps that are in this video and they show it as Mu or Lemuria depending on the map. And then we have more continents in the west of the African coast. And finally, we have what appears to be a layer of ice walls, which kind of disintegrates upon itself and becomes multiple masses, land masses, and gives birth to a lot of theories. So also we can see that the map is actually in German, we can actually see it. Once again, I can't find the actual source of this map. It does not seem to be some sort of modern project. It seems to be an actual thing that was made during that time period, but if it was, it's kind of crazy. And if it isn't, it's still kind of crazy that somebody made this. I really couldn't find many things on this, but I still wanted to take upon this challenge of a subject in a video because, it was asked to me by a subscriber which contacted me on Discord. Remember that if you want me to cover something on a video, you have to contact me on Discord. I won't be replying to comments on YouTube because there's so many of them and I can't read them all, but also simply because it piqued my interest because it was kind of crazy and I've never seen something like this before. So going from this, let's go to the second image, which is somehow this exact map, but it's made into a mouse pad. It appears to be somebody you use this to actually make a product and sell it. So I don't know what's that about, but it's interesting that mouse pad of this map exists. Once again, these black dots are the parts that I had to censor for that one symbol. But in this map, we can actually see a bit better what is being shown here. We have some names that we can recognize. I don't know if you guys can see them, but I can definitely see an Asgard here, and I can definitely see I can't actually see what this means, but this is definitely Asgard. It's written Asgard, and you might ask yourself, okay, what about Asgard? Well, in every single map of the Beyond the Ice Wall series, of any series honestly, has Asgard in it, because a lot of people believe that Asgard exists outside of the ice walls, and there's multiple theories. Some people believe that Asgard exists in the first layer beyond the ice wall. Some people believe that it exists in the second ring, as we've seen in the main map that we've been dividing into episodes in the main series of the channel, which is Beyond the Ice Walls, the second ring map. And of course there's even people that think more in the Nos Confunden kind of proposal, which is basically that Asgard exists as a firmament of itself outside of Earth and is connected to it by a passage, like Bird's Passage. But I don't really know about that whole thing. I think it might have been more probable for Asgard to exist as shown in the maps we've seen before, but this is definitely an interesting proposal. I'm going to zoom in into something that is not a mousepad now, so you can actually see better. And this is this one image I managed to find. This is the most high-resolution image of this map, and it's only unfortunate of one single part, which is, I think, this one right here. So we can't really see much of the rest, but we are able to see at least this one in very high detail compared to the ones we are seeing before. I'm noticing also that these have the continent of Africa figured here, so we can actually see some places that we know about, like in Africa, so Angola, Namibia, South Africa, Botswana, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Gambia, and so on and so forth. And even the Atlantische Ocean, so probably the Atlantic Ocean, to be honest, is German. I don't know German, guys, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's very interesting, and we see also some other things that are very, very interesting. We can see something here called New Schwabenland. So for those that don't know what New Schwabenland is, by the way, I'm pointing towards this thing right here. Let me just highlight it with a different color so you can see it in a better light. This thing right here, New Schwabenland, okay? And New Schwabenland is basically what the Germans during the, that one period in history, so around World War II, called the territory in Antarctica, which they were claiming ownership of. In fact, the Germans traveled all the way to Antarctica, or what many of these maps call the ice walls, and arrived and basically created literally a land claim over a vast territory that I'm not really sure which country claims it now, but even so, there's the Antarctic Treaty that kind of forbids any country to own land in Antarctica in the historical sense. It just allows them to have like a limited claim and stuff, and like research bases and stuff like that, and then they don't really allow people to visit much. So a lot of people are interested in that. And in this case, New Schwabenland was made way before that treaty was signed, so people, or rather, countries were actually claiming land in Antarctica for their own use. And we can see that in this case, New Schwabenland is represented as part of this like kind of fractured ice wall that extends outside of the main core of the Earth, or at least what could be interpreted as such. There's also other things here which I'm finding interesting, is the fact that a lot of these seem to be in Spanish, or in other languages are definitely not German, like Terra de Vista is clearly Spanish, or Portuguese. I'm sorry if it's Portuguese and not Spanish, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Spanish. So that's interesting. A lot of these maps that are like very well made tend to be something that comes from the Spanish side of the world, or at least the Spanish-speaking side of the world, so not only Spain, like countries in Europe, but also just the Latin American countries and some African countries like Guinea Equatorial. And yeah, I think it's interesting that a lot of these have some Spanish tendencies, especially since the Spanish were some of the first explorers to, cross really what was believed to be the end of the world. With Columbus, of course, it was an expedition that was, funded by the Crown of Spain. And of course, a lot of explorators and navigators were sent to distant lands to find things for Spain. So it makes sense that a lot of these contents are in fact in Spanish, because it either proves that the maps are very ancient and they were made in very old times, or that at least the source of them inspired these new, more recent maps to be made in Spanish, or at least have Spanish elements. Anything else that I can see? Okay, let me see. Balkanischer Ocean. I don't know what Balkanischer sounds like Balkan, but clearly can be Balkan. I am finding something interesting here. We have a UFO, something in German. I don't know what that means, but it is definitely a UFO base. That's what they're saying. Also, and again, I had to censor this, but of course, we're talking about this little landmass right here next to New Schwabenland, and they're saying there's a UFO base there, which apparently they changed the name of UFOs, guys. You guys know more than me this, but yeah, they changed the name. They don't even call them anymore. They call them something else. I don't even remember what they call them. I'm gonna keep calling them UFOs. That's how it's always been, and that's how I'll always remember them. We also have Princess Elizabeth Land right here. This is a more well-known part of Antarctica, actually, and I know it makes sense to show it like this, but it's interesting that Prince Elizabeth Land, which by the way is right here, is shown as separate, like in a map, by New Schwabenland, which I remember correctly, according to UN maps of Antarctica, it's like whole the same thing. It's not divided, so there's no straits that pass between them. So that's interesting. There's an archipelago here, which is called the Amadak Archipel. Okay, archipel. I'm gonna assume this is like a truncated word, so an acronym or something. No, sorry, not an acronym, just a slashed word. So archipel for archipelago. So that's interesting. It's this archipelago right here. And of course, we can see Asgard, as I was saying earlier. You see Asgard right here. So yeah, I could see that even in the horrible graphic of the first map. Unfortunately, really, really not something you can really deep delve on. But who cares? What else? What else? What else? Fimbolison ice shelf. Okay, ice shelf sounds like ice shelf, so at least that's that. And Fimbolison, I don't know what it is, but it sounds foreign. Okay, so interesting. Maybe they found another ice shelf we don't really know much about. So that's interesting. And also, I'm noticing this Liberia, which, okay, this could bring to controversies if I don't explain it. Liberia is not only like a country, because a lot of you might know that Liberia is in fact a country in the African continent. And if I go back to this map, which, oh, never mind, if I go back to this map, we can see probably right here that Liberia does in fact exist here. It's not really focused, but it does say Liberia. And Liberia is one of those countries that were created pre-colonization, or at least pre-European colonization of Africa, pre the massive colonization of Africa by Europeans. It was in fact created by African Americans from, America, mainly the United States, that decided to go there to resettle after slavery was abolished in the US. So yeah, it's interesting to see Liberia called here, but once again, I'm going to explain this very quickly. Liberia by itself does not mean only that specific place and the African continent. In fact, Liberia mainly is used to refer to any like free land, like as in like literally land of the free, which can be either like an autonomous society that has developed singularly from the other societies of the world, or it can just be anything that really represents a state of mind of liberty or freedom, which means that the land itself is not owned, which might be the case for Liberia in this case, which means probably there's nobody in here, aka it can be claimed and owned and settled, or at least that's how I would see it. Of course, we can see that the composure, the making of this map is like very interesting. Even the colors, we can see that the colors for like Africa and these continents right here seem to be much those that we see in our own kind of like firmament. So we can see like green, yellow, deserts, mountains, and grasslands and forests. But it appears that in fact all these territories in what would be Antarctica, or at least the ice walls, a very archipelago-like ice walls, are in fact covered with ice. So I'm not really sure how you could explain like life being there, or at least I don't really understand how you would be able to settle them. I know there's bases of research in Antarctica itself, like of course the one that the Germans were trying to establish during that one period in World War history, and also of course the ones that exist right now, but that's not really the same thing as like actual settlements in the same sense that we have them right around here, the main core of the world. So that's interesting to say the least. Let's see what else we can find on this map. It's the first time I see it as well. I just looked at it very quickly before making the video because I really wanted to give you guys like a first reaction, especially since I couldn't find like actual sources for this, which means that it was meant to be like a reaction kind of thing from this. We also free the Kartar Sea, which I don't know what Carter is. Carter. If it was Tartar Sea already would be more interesting, because Tartars, I've talked about them quite a lot, or it could be referring to like the ancient Greek concept of Tartarus. But Carter, I'm not really sure what that is supposed to be about. What else do we have? What else do we have? We have a Macy here, right here. Interesting, interesting. So there's many islands here, and this strait connects to the lands right here, and it keeps going here. And if you can see on this map, this is just this. This is just that. So I'm not sure why exactly only this part of this map is high quality, while other maps I couldn't find them like in better quality. But yeah, also I want to talk about this for a second. What the hell even is that? Honestly, I have no idea what this is. It looks like the Arctic, how the Arctic is represented in maps. So there's sheets of ice without land on it, and we can know this because they don't have the black borders that the land masses have. But then they all go into like one single bowl here, and this bowl seems to be like some sort of ice cap, but it's black, like ice cap, like North Pole kind of thing. At least that's what this believed. But then again, this is not definitely not a sphere kind of like map. We can see it being very different from a sphere. And the map itself, it's called literally Flat Earth map in German. I don't remember the translation, but it's something like Flat Earth, something like that. And yeah, so okay. Also, before we go out of this map, I also want to mention that Atlantis is represented right here, like actually Atlantis. So if we go back here, we might be able to like see the shape of it right for a second. And in this case, Atlantis seems to be represented like off the coast of Africa, but since America is like right on the other side for this map, then Atlantis would be in between the ice walls and Africa. But I don't know. I've always been more of the idea that if Atlantis existed, it existed outside of the ice walls, not inside of them. Like Mu as a sunken continent, if you look into it, could have some theories, Lemuria as well, but like Atlantis as like a landmass, I've more been like into the concept of Atlantis being that one place in the Sahara, if you know what I mean. That place in Mauritania, I believe, the Eye of the Sahara. If you look into it, I made a video about it very, very long ago, and it was part of like a separate series talking about like the very, very distant past. And I think that's way more reasonable to think than to think that Atlantis exists as a like an actual continent outside, inside of the ice walls. I think we would have found it if it was inside of the ice walls. I don't think we would have like not been able to see it. Oh, there's an oasis here. Interesting. Oasis. Okay. Huh. I really wish this map was better quality. It appears to be that this map itself. Wait. Okay. So this one and this one are the same thing. Yeah, they are the same thing. And this one is like digitalized, but it's the same thing. Okay. And also, before we move on from this, we also have Koning Maudland, which means King Maud's land, I believe, or Queen Maud's land, I think. And I think that is like territory that is recognized even nowadays in Antarctica, so that's interesting. And once again, it does not connect when you show up in land, but it does connect through an ice shelf right here, Lazarev ice shelf, with the Prince Elizabeth land. Huh. So according to this map, New Shoveland, so the place the Germans arrived to, is separate, and it's closer to like places like Liberia or these archipelagos or the UFO base right here. Interesting. I really, really, really am interested in this map. It's something I really can't wrap my head around, and it's so random. Like, look at this. Look, what are these inscriptions? What do they mean? I can't even see what they're saying. They're in German. I can't even translate them. But they're so interesting. What even is that? Is that supposed to be like an eye? Like an eyeball? Circular veins of the eyeball? Is it the moon? Okay, talking about the moon, we do have something that has to do with the moon about this map. And this is basically that the people that saw this map think that it is a flat earth map as a reflection of the moon itself. So that's kind of insane. Not insane as in the, like, it makes no sense. Insane as in the, what the heck? Okay, never mind. Okay, so this is basically saying that this is the map of Earth if it was representing the moon on a flat Earth basis. So if you see the flat Earth map of the moon and you kind of overlap it with this specific flat Earth map of our world, of Earth, then it appears to be somewhat adjacent. So that's interesting. Flat Earth map as a reflection in the moon. Yeah, you can kind of see it honestly, like this and this are very similar now that I see about it. Oh, wait, no, it's not perfect though. There is definitely some similarity. Okay, I want to do a little project here and just grab this, make it a bit smaller, right like that. And give me the layers right here. Look, okay, I think I'm starting to figure it out with you guys. So this is clearly this. Like, there's no doubt about it, it's very similar. Even the like lines next to it, so meteor crash kind of thing. And the oceans kind of do go close together, like, okay, this shape right here and this shape right here are kind of similar. I can see that. What else? This area right here, which seems to be less continent abundant, does seem to kind of represent this area right here. Yeah. It does have sense. It does make sense in the purely aesthetic sense. Interesting. There is definitely some coincidences. Well, not coincidences, of course. Whoever made this map knew what they were doing, I suppose. This thing right here, the sea right here, could be this. Hence why Lemuria is necessary for this map to be addition to the one of the moon. But then it kind of falls apart in right this area. I don't really see the similarities between this area of the moon and this area of Earth. Just don't see it, honestly. So I don't know really what that is about. But that said, it still is very interesting. And that said, it's very interesting. I'm very unfortunate that just the quality of the map is really hard to read. There's really not much quality to the map itself. Literally 2 pixels, that kind of stuff that you can't really see. You have to analyze it based on the aesthetic instead of the actual words. I would have loved to see what this says, like in a better kind of light, maybe even in English or in Spanish or in Italian, one of the languages that I can actually speak. Hell, give it in Latin, whatever. I'll try translating that as well. What else? We do have one last map that I want to show you about this entire thing I found, or that it was shown to me. And this one is kind of insane. Okay, this one is less, it makes less sense than the other ones, I think. This one is supposed to be like a re-representation, and I'm pretty sure this was made by some Brazilian people. And although all these maps are the same map, we can see it's all the same map. This one is the same map in the purely it's same shadows, same shapes, but it definitely was a remake of these because it does not have anything in common. And it's very funny that there's a random Brazil flag just coming out of South America there, so clearly made by the Brazilian person. Also, the accent of America makes me think that as well. We have interesting things in this map. We have what seems to be Mu, actually named Mu, so hence why I was calling this Mu. But if we go like this, I think this says Lemuria, not Mu. So some people think it's Mu, some people think it's Lemuria. So we have some labels for continents, and randomly the Arab Emirates, which I don't know why the Arab Emirates, especially in such a long landmass. Also, the shapes of the continents are all wonky and wrong in most cases compared to the actual maps that we were seeing before. So I don't know what that's about. We have a North Pole, so at least I think somewhat this map is supposed to be spherical. Not sure, but pole kind of refers to the concept of having actual poles, and you kind of have to be a sphere to have a pole. So I think this map might be even flat Earth, but it's still the same map, so I don't really know how they explain it to themselves. And then we have continents here that used to be these part of Antarctica, these kind of things linked to the German expeditions. And here they're in Spanish or Portuguese, more likely. And they just seem to be random stuff thrown into it, without many senses. This reminds me a lot of the Nos Confunden map, but it's like if it was made by somebody that has no idea what they're doing. I don't really like this map. Plus, there's just random images right here that don't really mean anything. And once again, there's this comparison with the moon, and the continents are all wonky again. You can Europe doesn't even exist here. North and South America, yes, but Europe is cut open to make it more look like the moon's seas. But doesn't really work, I think. Plus, there's images of clocks for some reason. Whatever, interesting. And we have Ramales, Calis, Ralid, Talmis, Capella, Nibiru. So we have Nibiru here, Nibiru, the planet, the plane of existence we talked about in a past Nos Confunden video. We have Cyclops. We have Cyclops here. Alright. And we have the Pleiades, so stars. Atlantis is here again. Guys, I really don't know how to take this. Am I supposed to take this seriously? This looks way worse than these ones. These look like they were made in that time period. They were studied upon. And this one looks like some guy just went on Photoshop and just dyed this map and just put in random names. We have Sirius, we have Mars, we have Orion here, Marduk, the Marduk base in Antarctica, but we don't have New Schwabeland anymore. We don't even have this area here. It was like cut off. So yeah, I don't really like this one. I don't really like this one one bit. And I had to like censor a huge part of it because I had a huge like German symbol from that era, the one I'm talking about earlier. And it was huge, it was incredibly big, and I had to cut it off because I really could not show it. So that's not good either. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one is more like a joke, while these are supposed to be actually analyzed in detail. I wish I had a better version of it once again, but I don't. So yeah, you'll just have to stick with me with this one, okay, guys? Yeah, I think this will be it for this video. It was a shorter video, and it was not what we usually do, so our main series, but I really wanted to just delve into it for 1 second, because, you know, it is still very interesting. I just didn't really know what was going on. And if you guys know more about it, I would love to know what you know about this map in the comments. And also, one thing I noticed, the last thing I want to talk about, is the fact that in this map here, it's like super terrible graphic, but I could understand what they're saying, and they're saying Gog and Magog. And I've been getting comments since the start of my channel to talk about Gog and Magog, and I really don't know how to begin. But eventually I will be making a video on Gog and Magog. At least I will try, because I've been getting a lot of comments on that. And, you know, it just comes and pops up every time I do something. So, you know, it was meant to happen. It was really meant to happen. But yeah, this will be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the content. I know it's not really our usual content, but I hope you still enjoyed it. And you kind of felt the same feeling of mystery while discovering this as I did for the first time. I used to do live streams like this, where I would like discover things without researching them beforehand. And, you know, I just kind of wanted to do that one more time before going back to our normal content. And yeah, let me know if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment on the video to help the algorithm boost the video. And that will be it for today. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next LMPNC video. Good night.